Hi everyone, my name's Tim. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Let's see. I asked Denise to mention that I was a cool-looking bald guy, but she wouldn't do it. I don't know. I think so. No, I'm only kidding. Just joking. I was thinking of just briefly going over how my life played out, just a couple of minutes. Basically, I had a really good childhood up to the age of about 11. We just went on vacations and all this stuff, and my mother and father. But then my mother died. She just died all of a sudden within 6 months of cancer. And that was back in 1972. And just things really changed then. My father was a great guy, and he looked after us from the day he died. He died when I was 27, and he stayed with us all that time, so I can't say too many bad things about him, but he did drink. He drank beer, and beer is alcohol, you know, no matter what. He didn't drink hard stuff. I just don't think he drank that because he didn't like it, but he drank a lot of beer. I mean, I used to go to softball games, and he would be out on the pitcher's mound, and there'd be a beer on the side of the mound while he was pitching. I think about that today, and I'm like, and there's guys in the field smoking. That was the Boston League. I'm like, what the heck? But there were beer leagues, you know? I mean, there were like tons of beer, coolers of beer all over the place. And, you know, the blue-collar Boston area, you know, that's the way it was, you know? That's how we grew up. We grew up with the parents drinking, and when we were 10 or 11, 12, well, actually me, probably 12, 13, we started to dabble in like wines and Boone's Farm and Mad Dog 2020, you know, all the stuff that made me puke, but I liked it, you know, but I still puked. But I you know, and then I stopped doing it for a while, but when I turned like 18 or 19, that's when it all started. I mean, I just started drinking, crazy drinking. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was drinking and doing drugs, cocaine mostly. And going into the clubs in Boston, downtown, we used to call it. And that's kind of where it started, and it didn't end for a long time. I did stop from the age 27 to maybe 35, not with AA, because I really didn't know AA. And I only did it because my brother got in a really bad accident, my twin brother, and he was in a coma and stuff, but he's doing really good now. So I just stopped, you know. But I ended up training. I was doing all kinds of good stuff. I was always athletic anyway, and I ran the Boston Marathon. I know Denise is a runner. And probably 6 months after I finished the marathon, I went out again. And it was like 10 times worse. I was a friggin' maniac, just drinking all the time. There was a span of like 2 years that I drank almost every day. And then I'll just go forward because there's a lot of war stories and stuff like that. But the last 3 years, when I finally found AA, which saved my life, I started smoking crack, which was like, I just like, you know, I was so scared because I would get home from one of those binges and say, I am never doing that again. That is like too crazy, you know, too addictive. And I would be out there 2 weeks later doing the same thing, and I couldn't stop. And I was afraid, and nothing was going to help me, and I didn't know what to do, and it was horrible. And, you know, I finally found AA by going with someone that got arrested for DUI, and I went the 3 days that they had to go, and I never left. I go now to the, I consider the ARC noontime meeting as my home meeting because that's where I started, and I've been there for 5 years. I had one relapse after 2 years, so I got 3 years in. I got about 2.5 years as a, oh, I didn't do my thing, huh? Should I do this? Huh? All right. I've been through the steps with the loving God, the Big Book step studies. I'm in the process of making amends, and I try to practice steps 10, 11, and 12 to the best of my ability. So I've been through that. I've been around doing that for about 2 years. And me and a friend, it was funny, me and a friend had, came in about the same time, and I was listening to her. She was talking to one of her friends, and her friend said, well, you should try like the Big Book study meetings. And she's like thinking about it. She's like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. That sounds like advanced AA to me. And I'm like, and I was sitting beside her, I'm like, that's the way I feel about it. You know, but I went, and you know, it really does work. I mean, I don't know how anybody could say it doesn't work, you know. I came to the point where I received miracles, and I don't have any desire to drink or do drugs, and I haven't in probably a year and a half. I can go anywhere, and it doesn't bother me, and it's a friggin' miracle that I can do that. And I'm so grateful. And so I think that's about it for, you know, you get the gist of, you know, I had problems. On the amends part, it's funny, I was like, when I finished all that work, it took me a year and a half, and I was kind of procrastinating some, but it took me about a year and a half, and I met my sponsor every week, once a week. But when we finished that, I was like, thank God, and I had this release and stuff like that, and then bang, it's the amends, you know. I'm like, why do I have to do amends? Come on, I did all this stuff, I told it to God, I told it to my sponsor, now you want me to go out here, and, you know, is this going to take me forever? It's funny, but, you know, I say what they say here, my sponsor said to me, and made me feel like a crying little baby when he said it, is, I don't know if, it's on the first page of this thing. So what page does it start at? 7. Oh, okay, here it is right here. It says, remember, it was agreed at the beginning we would go to any lengths for victory over alcohol, and I agree to that. So that's all there is to it. I agree to it. I got to do it. And if I don't do it, I risk drinking and doing drugs. So that's what he told me, and I said, oh, yeah, and I felt like a real idiot, you know? So, it's like the thing where, you know, you have to face all those hurts and hang-ups and whatever else you did. You have to face them all over again because you already did it with somebody else, you know. Not to harp on that, but you do. You have to go over it all again. But I probably had 175, 76 amends, okay? And this, I'll probably be in heaven before I finish that. But one of the things I did was I first I set them up into categories of you know, maybe work people. I forget what they were, but work people, friends, relatives, people that were dead. You know, because it's not always like one line of just jumbling, where do I start? You know, I can now look at that and I can say, okay, what can I do next week? You know, and I can go down and I can see who I can go to. And, you know, even the ones that are dead, it's not that easy because, you know, I did several graveside ones, but we have a family grave in Boston and West Roxbury or something. I think it's West Roxbury or Rosendale. But there's like 7 people in that grave. So I could do all those 7 people in one shot. So that was a good deal. No, but I actually talked to every one of them, you know. And it was really good. My mom and dad are in there, and it was really good that I was able to do that. But those are like, all right, so they're dead, but still, you know, you can write them letters and stuff if you want. And, you know, just keep them or bring them to the grave. It's a really, like, it is freeing, you know. It is good to do the amends, even though you did the other stuff. I find that it's more freeing, you know, and it is a good thing to do. I mean, I believe that it's a good thing to do. When I go to do an amends, and I don't do a lot of them, and I should do a lot of them, it says that you should still continue to have an accountability person for doing this stuff, because when you get finished with your 4th and 5th, you really don't have that accountability, because the sponsor's like still there, but they don't really, it's not part of the whole thing of doing amends, that they're with you, like, they call you, did you do an amends or something? Not like how much are you writing. They don't do that. You're on your own. So procrastination is dangerous. So you need to talk to your sponsor about still being accountability person to you, so that you will continue to be motivated to do this stuff, because you can just, you know, it'd be 6 months, you didn't do any of it, not one, and it's scary, you know? So that's what I have to do. I have to make sure that someone's watching me and, you know, make sure I'm doing them. I hear people say that they've finished them, and I think that's great. I'm like, wow, really? I don't see me finishing mine at any time soon, you know? And I wish I wish I could be more, you know, diligent in this, because it's hard unless you have someone, you know, calling you and asking you if you did. I like to do like 1 or 2 a week if I could, you know? And I'm not doing that, so I need to do something about it. One particular, you know, the family is hard. You know, family is first for me. You know, it's the first thing that I needed to do is my family, because there's a lot of stuff with your family, you know? And you don't even have to do it in one shot. You can just say, like, all right, this is the beginning of it, all right? And you want to, before you go, you want to write down what it is. You go back to your 4th step and say, what did I say about them that I was really, really, really something, pissed off or whatever? And you find that out, and you write it down, and when you go there, you're very prepared. Because they don't want to hear all this blah, 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 you know? They want to be concise, you know? And then they feel like, okay, you know, he knows what he's doing, you know, he cares about what he's talking about. You know, he's not just like blowing you off saying, oh, it was something like, oh, you remember, 2 years, 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. You know exactly what it is, you know, and you tell them exactly the days and the dates and all that stuff. But I think that's very important to be prepared, because that way it goes well, you know, and everybody's happy. And when they say that amends can be really, really satisfying, it is really satisfying. It's amazing, just the whole, you know, the way I do my life now is you know, praying and stuff like that. I really do. I try to pray for myself, except in the mornings when I get up. But I pray for other people, you know, and I pray for, you know, what's around me and who needs help. Like I prayed for you guys today, and I don't even know you, and I prayed for you guys before I came in the door. And, you know, I prayed that you would be inspired somehow, you know, not that I would be, you know, that you would be. And I didn't mention my name at all, you know, and how you get there, I don't know, but I would hope that you would be. And, because I don't like praying for myself. It's just, I had too much of that. When I was getting high and drinking, I would pray for myself and, oh, help me this, and I won't do this, and please pray for me to not go out the door and do drugs, and don't pray for me to do this. And it didn't work. You know, it didn't work. It was very selfish. You know, it was always about me. You know, I'll pray for, don't let me get hurt. Don't let me this, don't let me that, you know. And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. And I was Catholic at the time, and I have no problem with the Catholic God. But I'm not Catholic anymore, but I am a Christian. But I don't want to get off the subject too much. But I think the most important statement in this book is step 3, which is let's see, I know what it is here. Let's see. Okay, step 3. Step 3 says, make a decision to turn our will over and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And that is what makes AA so much of a great institution. It's because it's inclusive. It doesn't push people out. Everybody's welcome. You know, all of us are together here. I bet you know, everyone has a different higher power. And look, we're here, we're talking. I speak with my hands, and I'm not even Italian. We're all, you know, we all have different higher powers, but we're not like fighting each other, and you know how they do it in like other cultures where the whole state is run by one religion, you know, or one spiritual thought process. The whole world of AA is inclusive. You know, no matter what your higher power is, you're in here, and that's all there is to it, and that's all that matters. And I think that AA is the most inclusive organization I have ever seen in my life. anything I've ever seen in my life. That's why we're all here. You can have any higher power you want, you know, and that's the key to this whole program. And I think Bill Wilson was sitting there one day and he was saying, we don't have anything for that. And all he wants to do is get these people sober. The thing he wanted, bottom line, that we get sober healthy sober, okay? And some of it was getting screwed up because of the higher powers, so we put that in where there is no, you know, it's just whatever you have, and that we begin to get sober again, you know. And I think that's great. I got off the thing. Did I get off that thing? Yeah, I did. Right? Okay, wait a second. You know, when I give the I have this guy, right, that I have not done. I saw him at a funeral one time of my friend who died young. He died in a car accident. This was a few years ago. And I met him, my next door neighbors, we lived in Dorchester. There was a lot of kids running around and stuff. My friends next door, it was his cousin, but I was skating one day in the park, and they were there, and I met up with them. And that day, I knew he didn't like me. He just did not like me. And then as time went on, and we became teenagers, and in the 20s and stuff, 20s, constantly like looking at me like he wanted to fight me or something. I mean, it was just like he never stopped. And I ended up getting in a fight with him. I don't know, probably even. I don't want to get into that, what happened in the fight, but that still didn't work. I go to the funeral, and he, you know, he sticks his hand. I goes, I was talking to a kid next to him, and I goes, how are you doing? I looked at him, and he stuck his hand out. So I went to shake it, and he tried to pull my hand, like, I don't know, and I yanked him like forward or something. It was just crazy. At my friend's funeral, I felt like dragging him outside and killing him. But anyway, with someone like that, the reason I talk about that story is because if I ever did, which I don't think that's going to be possible, but if it is possible, something happens, I may be able to do that. I would not want to show weakness on that one, you know. And I don't think God wants me to show weakness. And excuses and stuff like that. You know, he'd want me to be straightforward, you know. He did all of it, all right? That's how we all look at it. But I had to have some kind of part in it. That's what we do when we're writing the steps. We find out what part we had in certain things. And yeah, I could have said right out, you know, what the F is your problem? Why don't you like me? And I never said that. You know? So one time I saw him on the T. We used to take the T a lot for everything in Boston. And he looks at me and he just walks right by me. He gets on the train. So I could have said that. You know, I think I could have said that. And maybe he would have said it. And maybe that would have, you know, honestly, I don't care, because it doesn't have any power over me right now. But in the sense of having an amends, that's a tough one. You know, I got to be honest. I don't know how I would do that, but we'll figure it out. Maybe it'll happen someday. I'll pray about it. Let's see, what other pieces of information? I think the reason why, you know, we need to do the amends too is because it goes completely, because at the end of the amends, you're done. You know, your spiritual life has been plotted. You've not only wrote things down and said it to God and to your higher power, God, said it to someone else and your higher power. You've said it to the person, the somebody, the person. And that is complete and utter joy. I don't know if it's joy. For me, I think I got a lot of joy out of the 4 steps. So finishing my amends, or just doing one amends, at least for a couple of days, I feel so much joy. But if I finish them all, that's the end of then you start living 10, 11, and 12 on a regular basis. But that's the end of it. You know, you got that out. And it's like a glorious. It's a glorious thing. I would think it. Well, I haven't even done them, but I would think that it is a glorious thing. And then you just start working 10, 11, and 12. You know, one day at a time. And you know, all that. You know, the freedom from the past and stuff like that. That's gone. You know, you definitely have all that freedom from the past, and that's really good. Get back to this. The promises are in here too, in this particular chapter. The promises. You know those promises you see around? You have those promises here? Yeah. They're here in this chapter. That's what you get when you. That's what I was trying to get at too. Oh, here they are right here. Yeah, it's on page 84, the promises. It says things like that feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. You know, things like that. That's what I was trying to get at. It's kind of like this glorious, yeah. These promises are awesome. And it says, are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us. And it's sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. I think time in this, people look at this program as time, like, how long did it take me to do this? How long did it take me to do that? I don't think time has anything to do with AA. Anything at all. Because it says here, it will be fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. You know, I wouldn't get all bogged down by the time it takes you to do something. As long as you're doing it and you're doing it the right way, and you're in touch with your sponsor so they can help you, you're on your way. And that's a great thing, a really good thing. Can I stop now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop. Thanks.